Okay. So yeah, maybe you want to tell me a bit about yourself before we start. Who are you? Where you from? You know.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Palasam. Uh, I'm a Boston student. Yeah, I go to Boston Media House, and this is gonna be my first year, and I'm quite excited. Yeah, and I've known Debucho for the past 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. So I mean, hey, the clock is ticking. So what's in your mind? What do you want to know? What do you
I'll introduce myself then.
sure.
So it's Daboho, and yeah, I'm a student at AFDA, and yeah, I've also, I guess, known Palisa for 4 years. We both are trying to pursue like the same thing. So yeah,
Which is
yeah,
Directing.
like
okay.
yeah.
I also studied directing at after for like 2 years when I dropped that. But okay. You got similarities, you know.
Why did you out? Yeah.
Oh, money, obviously.
Did you
Parents
drop
get
out?
yeah, end of second year. My
Yeah, I did
parents are
2 years. He out.
they were like, ah, it's too much. Go I'm a savings. And that's what I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the fees are
Wonderful.
really the fees are really high. So yeah, parents couldn't handle it.
Mm.
It's expensive, you know, it's not cheap, fuel.
So my first question would be, what is the difference between theater directing and film directing?
I mean, obviously that's like so maybe you'd say that theater directing is definitely more performance based only. You know, you're working with the actors, the staging, the blocking, maybe a little bit of the production design. It's not like film where it's that plus more. You know, I mean, because obviously you guys are film students. You know, you need to decide where am I going to put the camera? How many close-ups am I going to have over the shoulder shots? What's the shot? What's the film going to look like? The grading, the color palette, the edit, the sound. How are you going to tell the story in all levels, from performance to editing to sound to visual effects to the color palette to the production design? And how are you going to show it? And you know how they always say, show, don't tell. So how do you show something without telling it? And I would think that theater is more expositional because you can show the person, but you're going to still have to express it with words. But with film, it's like if you can show it without using words with subtext, that's like number one. That's like the ideal goal. So I think that's the difference.
I'll ask the next question while I try to figure out this video thing. Um, so like with, for example, something like acting, you have to like audition and then you need an agent, and that's pretty much how you get work. But like, I'm curious as to how like a writer would get work like in the industry. Do writers and directors have agents also, or like how does a writer get work?
They do, but I mean, we don't have the Hollywood system where everyone is talking to an agent. I mean, I know DPs have agents and actors have agents, but in terms of directors and writers, not there's not too much of that. I think if you're a writer and if you want to get a job, you need to write a lot of spec scripts. You just send your scripts to these production companies. You need to try produce your own things as much as it's not nice to try to produce your own short film, but you need to showcase your writing and you need to just find a way to get it. Obviously, the problem, there's too many writers, there's too many people applying to all these production companies, and there's only a certain number of production companies, and there's only a certain number of people they can take in, but you just have to stand out. So obviously, if you come and you apply, say, I've made these 3 short films in varsity, and I've made these ones with my friends, you're at a better position than someone who's only made short films in, you know, um, in varsity. So you just have to stand out. It's not easy. It's a very difficult. The industry is very small. Everyone knows each other. Even the people that like, if I can throw a stone, I know not. I don't know everyone, but like everyone knows each other. Like the industry is so small. So getting in is really difficult, especially as a writer. So it just sucks. You just need to make your stuff stand out, or whether you're writing, you produce like a fiction podcast, like those old radio scripts. Maybe get some of your friends to act them out and record them on a phone and get someone to edit it and put out like a weekly podcast. It's like a web series, but it's audio form, and you put it on Spotify or, YouTube, and get people to listen to the story. And obviously the more you write, the better you get. And the more exposure you get, then people are going to see your work. That's actually cheaper than shooting. You just have to get actors on a mic, and then they act out the thing, get someone to edit it, add sound effects. That's where you showcase in your writing. That's one way you can go, because obviously just sending your CV and your script. If you send anyone a 100-page script, that's a lot of reading. That's the whole 90 minutes I have to sit. Nobody wants to do that at all. Nobody. I won't even lie to you. Nobody wants to read your script. That sounds so bad though, but it's the truth.
So how much do you think production is for like a series?
I mean, like from the lower level, it's like 3.5 million. That's a very low budget version of a series in South Africa. 3.5 million, which is also very low, because in each episode is like produced for like 200,000 and 250 or something. I don't know what the math is, but that's a very small amount of money in terms of getting the crew, getting the cast, getting the location. That money is gone like this. But that's like the bare minimum. That's like the very lowest, if I can put it that way. 3.5 million to produce like a 13-part series. Yeah. That's very low though, but it's like bare bones, like, yeah, very, very, very low. And then obviously it can go higher.
Okay. If I were to like write a script about something that happened back in the day, where will I be able to get like all these vintage things for my setup?
You mean like props and stuff?
Yeah, like props for my settings, yes.
I mean, there are costume shops, not costume shops. What do you call them? Props. Like where you hire props, basically. I know there's one in Krugersdorp. It's called Prop Stars. That's very big. So there was one also in town. I forgot the name. They have everything that you can think of that is old computers, old TVs, things like that. And obviously, if you want a car, there's a website called, what's the name of the website? It's a location website. It's like the Airbnb, but for film location. I just forgot the name, right? But they have locations that you can rent out. They also have stuff like cars, like old cars and like things that you can rent out. The name is escaping me, but it's a very new tech startup. But it's like Airbnb for filming locations. So you can look at the house and the pictures and book. You can see the rates. And then they also have cars. Like, obviously these vintage cars you can't get. People want to get paid to use their cars and stuff. So yeah, those are the places. So I'll tell you if I come back with the name. I just forgot. There I see you, Teofo. Finally.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Awesome. Cool, man. What else is on your mind?
Okay.
You can go.
Oh, yeah, I wrote down like quite a few questions. Is it possible to be part of the makeup team and also directing?
Have you ever heard of Louis Truth that you can do whatever you want?
Okay.
Or Tyler Perry, look at him. He's writing, directing, acting. You can do anything you want. There's no... Yeah, it's not like with doctors where you have to get approval from the HPCCSA, where like, if you've got the money or you got the opportunity, you can do everything. I mean, obviously it'll be a lot of work, but there's no limit in what you can do. It's the opportunity, convincing the producer, the people on that team, you know, all those things. So there's a lot of producers are also directors. A lot of producers also write scripts. You know, they don't just do one thing. It's not, what's different with South Africa is like, we are very multi-skilled. No one just does one thing because you never know what gig you might need to do. 1 minute you're editing, 1 minute you're shooting. You know, 1 minute you're doing, you know, makeup, 1 minute you're being a stylist. Or maybe, you know, I don't know, or doing wardrobe. Because there are opportunities that come like that, where it's like, we need to do the makeup and the wardrobe. And then it's not completely different, but it's close together. So if the producer says, yo, I can't find someone, I need you, can you do both? You know, and you can.
And then like, since like we're both like film students and everything, and like also like personally, like in second year, like I keep hearing like the term network. So like, I mean, it's cool to like have like a qualification by your name. It does like help when like looking for work or whatever, but like you mentioned, it's like it's all about your network. So how do you kind of like network to ensure that like when you're done, like you're ready, you don't have to like kind of start from scratch to be like, okay, cool, let's start looking for jobs. Like it's like your name and face is already out there in like the professional.
So the most basic thing is you need to just volunteer to go on set. So send emails, literally all the 1,000 production companies, email all of them, like all of them, maybe 1,000 to me, let's say 50 production companies, or literally email 50 production companies in 1 weekend and say, hey, I am a student, I want to learn, I want to volunteer. That's literally the easiest thing you can do. One, maybe all of them will reject you, but one will say, hey, actually, we're shooting this Saturday, come to Auckland Park or whatever, you know, and you do it while you're still in school. You know, I did it when I was still at after. I emailed this guy called Brandon Jack. I keep telling the story over and over. The director of these movies, I said, yo, dude, I'm interested in your company. I love what you do. Emailed him. He said, yeah, come through. I was on my first commercial in 2 days after sending the email. And obviously, when you're there, don't be, I'm a director at after. I can't make coffee. Don't do that bullshit Gen Z stuff. You know, as you know, after students have a really bad name. They're like, no, I'm a director. It's like, shut the fuck up. Do the job and then, you know, prove yourself. And I know it's not nice to hear, but nobody wants to work with anyone like that. If you're just gonna be, and because you're still mengaring together for them to squeeze you in, you just need to get in first. And then once you impress them, they're gonna call you and say, actually, now we've got a paying gig. So maybe you go work for 2 days or 3 days for free, but you've made that connection on that set. You're making that's actually the best, because in between the shooting, people are gonna be talking to you. You just try to serve them as best as possible. And they were like, actually, that guy said before, I got a shoot next week, dude, come through. Then you make connections like that. You become a reliable person, you know, and you save people's numbers, you stay in contact. But it should start while you're still in school, not while you're still studying. Because yes, you're right. The degree doesn't mean anything. Yo, it sounds so mean. But I mean, experience it's a big help. I'm sorry. But any job, the more experience you have, they don't have to teach you. And I think also the problem is that what they teach you in film school is not what you do in the industry. It's very rare. Maybe the only closest thing is editing and sound mixing and color grading. Directing, yeah, but it's not that much, because you'll probably be directing commercials. You know, you won't be directing movies straight off the set, because it takes a long time to get a movie made in South Africa. You don't have studios like Warner Bros, Sony, who are just dishing out millions every now and then. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So on that note, is Ironheart Films maybe looking for like interns or production assistants? You know, like maybe like there's a young shoot and we need to like run around and make people coffee. Is maybe like is an opportunity like that for us?
Okay. Look, I mean, I don't have anything now, but shoot me a mail, and then at least I've met you and I've spoken to both of you. Now we've made the connection. If there's something, then I can reach out. I know you hear people saying that, but at least I've met you, and I'll always think of you if I ever shoot. I say, dude, what are you doing on this day? Because I'll say nothing now, but if I do have a shoot, I'll probably call you tomorrow and say, dude, you said you're what's happening on Saturday? You know, because once jobs come, they come really quick and fast. So yeah, just send me a reminder email and send me your number and all of that stuff. And then we'll see. I can't promise anything, but if there is an opportunity, yeah, why not? Yeah.
Well, how long has the industry?
Since 2008. So, I mean, yeah.
That's so hard.
Yeah. I mean, I started working while I was still in first year. Like that first email I sent, I told you, that's the first commercial I worked on. And then little by little, I was bunking sometimes classes to go work. And then obviously a bit in my second year. And then after second year, I ended it. Obviously I left, and then I started working the runner, production assistant, second AD, then became a producer, promo director, then became an editor. And until finally I worked for different companies, and then finally I started my own company 4 years ago. Yeah. And then I've been just running my own company, still doing work for other companies, but the bigger ones like the Urban Brews and people that do all these Netflix productions. And obviously they always hire smaller companies. So it's like trying to level up every time, you know. But yeah, since then.
But like with like your company, I mean, you've spoken about it like on your YouTube, but like what exactly do you guys do at like your company?
So we're like a video production agency, which is, I know it's like a vague term, but so we shoot, we do editing, we do post, we do color grading, we do a little bit of directing. Obviously that's where we want to go in terms of directing shows and stuff. So we're always pitching shows to broadcasters. Now we're doing a bit of content directing for a 3-part soccer documentary. We've done a lot of editing. I've done a lot of shooting. I've shot conferences. I've edited Zoom conferences. I've literally, you know, whatever is like media related, if it's an event, but we've done a lot of post work. And like anything shooting and post mainly, yeah, we do a lot of that, yeah. Obviously, the dream is to get into film, long form content, and produce directly for the broadcasters. But it takes time. You know, you're only doing stuff like it's you, then the production company, and then there's the real client that you want to work for. You know, it takes time. But yeah.
What has been your biggest challenge, and I would say the best success or the best relief in the industry you've had? Something. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the biggest challenge is obviously there's like tough times, you know, especially when you run your own company where there's no work. There's like, yo, how are you gonna pay rent this month? You know, I've had those moments where I was like, why didn't I study civil engineering? What the hell's going on? You know? And then the wins are like, obviously like getting to be able to work when I want, having clients, having money, you know, being able to hire people. You know, I do have 2 interns that work for me currently full time. You know, being able to grow and say, you know, I'm gonna hire interns and train them up, and you know, whether because they work as creative producers / editors, so they shoot, they produce, and they edit. So yeah, just being able to grow and just like learn. There's so much learning that takes place from like, especially the business side. Because doing the thing, you could be a great editor, but you could have no work. You could be a great director and have no work if you're not marketing and always reaching out to clients, finding like the business side of sales, getting paid. I mean, I talk about a lot of that in my channel, which whatever you do, you can be great, but if no one's calling you every week to give you work because you're not marketing and getting new clients and impressing your clients. Every time you get a client, you have to wow them. So they call you again, they refer you to a new friend, like a new, it's like you always have to give more than what you're getting paid for. If someone's going to give you a job and pay you 10K, you need to work on it as if the guy's paying you 30K, but they impress and they call you back. Whether it's a bigger production company or it's another client or it's just like a small business, it's yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, the great part is being independent, working for yourself, and realizing, anyone can have a production company, because most production companies have 2 to 3 people as founders. So, and then they just hire crew when they shoot here and there, but mainly they just do most of the stuff themselves. And anyone can do it. Shit, we've got social media these days. I mean, you guys see the TikTok stars, there's different ways to make money. It's not easy. It doesn't mean you have to dance on TikTok, but I'm just saying the avenue is there now. You don't have to be a TikTok influencer, but there's ways to create content. Telling someone long ago, back in the day, we couldn't shoot. We were shooting on film at after. And when you shoot on film, you only have 2 minutes of film. Like our first year, the first movie had to be like 92 minutes. And we had 2 minutes of film. So you can imagine the errors you can make are only 30 seconds. So it was not the easiest of times. But yeah, and also just learning. I mean, yes, you have to network, but go to events. I don't know if you heard about the Jersey Film Festival. It's happening like 2 weeks ago. You need to go to this event, attend Zoom webinars doing this filmmaking stuff. Follow like DFA or the IPO. They always have Zoom sessions where they teach stuff about producing documentaries or things about the industry. And it's more on the business side that they don't teach in school. To attend, I still do attend a lot of those things because I'm always learning new things. Like, how does a co-production work? How can you work with a company in like Germany to produce a movie here? Like the business side of things, and obviously watch as many filmmaking videos as possible to learn the business side. The business side also informs, the other side of production. You have to understand a bit of both. Yeah.
Okay.
Insightful.
And then are you working with anyone that you were in school with, like from AFDA?
I mean, sometimes it's very rare. You know what happens? You meet in film school, everyone is passionate, and I'm going to be a director, I'm going to do, and then they get into the industry, things get tough and people change careers, So a lot of people that we started with have left the industry. The people that have stayed are very little. I mean, I don't know if you know Fence there from OMF Films. He was in my year. Tommy, he's like a DP. He shoots all these shows like The River. Like there's literally, like I can literally count people like this that are in the industry. Like from my year, from first year and second year, like most people have changed careers. They just went into construction. One of my friends works at ESCOM. So it's like, how are you working at ESCOM? I thought you were a true filmmaker. What's going on? Because it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. It's really tough. But yeah, there are some people we cross paths with, and some you just know. We know each other, and they're in the industry, and you can see them, on social media and stuff. Yeah.
And then in terms of like the business side of like the industry, which I remember last year there was like a lecturer who said that like I advise that you guys like acquaint yourselves with that because you can't be a freelancer forever. And like he was talking about that, but like they never really have the conversation. Like they'll teach you about like, okay, what is in color grading, what is color correction, what is this, but like they don't really teach you, I think, how to like market yourself. So what has been like the biggest lesson that you've learned from like the business side of film and TV?
Yeah. So I mean, Look, I think the main thing is just running a business. Business takes marketing, sales, admin, and people. So you have to do all four of these things. So you have to be marketing all the time. That's why I have so many YouTube videos on YouTube. When you type production company South Africa, I'm the first 3 videos. Type post-production company South Africa, I've got the first 6 videos on YouTube. That's me being intentional. But like if someone is searching, they're gonna, I'm putting myself out there. I've got a podcast, which I haven't done in a while, but like I post a lot. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then I'm gonna take this video and cut it up and put it on YouTube just to create content. Just so people always like, oh, there's a company called Ironheart Films. It's like Coke. Everyone knows Coke, but they never stop marketing, I forgot what your question was. But yeah, that's what I'm like. It's not just doing the thing is the easiest part. Whatever the thing is, whether you're doing makeup or like, that's the easiest part you could ever do. Yes, it's not easy, but it's directing, producing, editing, shooting. That's the easy part. It's getting the work constantly, learning how to impress clients. Because when you do the work, it's not about you anymore. You're supposed to go to the client and say, what do you need? Let's say they say shoot a video. You can't just shoot whatever you want. You gotta say, what's the most important thing about this video? Is it a video launch for a product? What are the USPs of the product? It's a bit of marketing stuff that, because you're gonna interact with the marketing side of it. It's not just film, TV only. Whenever you shoot, you're gonna end up shooting things for ad agencies and commercials and stuff. So it becomes like, what does the client want? How can I deliver what they need? So, but I mean, obviously it takes time and learning and just consuming content, learning, going to festivals, going to film markets. Because the sad thing, those things, I wish they taught those things in school. Because that's the side, even as a freelancer, you are a business. As much as you're alone when you start, even when you're an employee, you are a business. You have a name and a reputation. People know you. You know it in school. There's people that are known for specific things. Like that guy is a great cinematographer. Everybody knows that's his clout, or that guy is a great actor. What do you want people to know you for? And then obviously that word of mouth will help you get more gigs and navigate and things like that. So yeah, it's not easy, but you just have to just learn whatever you can. Like attend all the fest, even if you can't, some of them you can attend online. Some of them you can even watch filmmaking YouTube videos talking about the business side, the business of film on YouTube. There's so many of them. I mean, maybe not local, but more international, but they're still very similar. There's a business works pretty much the same. Why is my camera stopping? Whether you're here, whether you're in South Africa or you're, it's very similar. Yes, there's little differences, but there's a lot of similarities. So just consume content. Consume content. That's the easiest thing. There's podcasts. I don't know. Do you guys listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so many filmmaking podcasts. It's ridiculous. If you went on Spotify and typed filmmaking, even if you Google filmmaking podcast, you will learn so much. There's a podcast called The Producer's Guide. Maybe try to search for it. All the producers in Hollywood go on that podcast and they talk about the things they've worked on. They've worked on movies like The Hunger Games, and they tell their story, how they start the project, from finding the book to hiring a writer to hiring a crew to shooting to post to, like that. Every episode is like an hour 45. Like the more you listen, you learn more about the business. Oh, these are how things work. Sometimes I think because producing, you start something from scratch and bring it all the way to the end, and like if you could just do yourself a favor and listen to that podcast, The Producer's Guide by Todd Garner. All the films that and the TV shows, to hear how it started, when a guy said, I just had an idea, or I read this book, or I played a video game, then I wanted to make the video game into a movie or a show. They'll talk about what happened all the way to the end to get the show to premiere and getting the money and getting the channel to buy in, the broadcaster, the streaming service, things like that. So maybe that's actually a good stuff if you want to learn more stuff.
So is the saying, an actor is the most important and the least important person on set true?
I mean, they are the soul of the movie. Like, yes, without, they can make a movie suck. You know what? To be honest, they are important, but a lot of things are important. I don't know if you analyze films, but sometimes the story is great, but the acting is bad, or the cinematography is bad. And then you find films where everything is perfect, like everything, from the cinematography to the lighting, to the music, to the acting, to everything matters. It's not just one thing that is. I mean, they are important. Obviously, they're like a very important factor, but there's other things, because you can fix a performance in editing, or you can mess it up. There's also things you can't fix in terms of performance. So yeah, there's that also. Yeah. Are you guys still in varsity? I guess are you still at after right now?
Yeah, I'm doing my second year now.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay, you still young and fresh. Nice. That's awesome. Okay, cool. It's good to know. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
And you, Deborah?
With in terms of being behind and in front of the camera, if you want a career that kind of jumps between both, you get people who can I use as an example? Okay, there's a few people who I can think of, but people who kind of do both. How do you sort of balance both of those? Do you send scripts to different production companies at the same time you're auditioning? Are the agents that would actually be comfortable with that, with you wanting to, let's say they get you a brief for an audition, but then you tell them that, nah, I'm actually working on a documentary with this other crew. We're shooting for ABC days or whatever, so I can't go to that audition. How do you balance that?
I mean, I think first thing I'll say is you start with one thing. Yes, you can do multiple things, but you got to master the first thing first, whether it's the behind the scenes stuff or the acting stuff. Master one, then obviously then that generates money for you, right? And then it doesn't mean you can't do other stuff. I can tell you now, a lot of producers have a lot of projects, a lot of projects. That's why they don't read a lot of people's stuff, because they have 10, 15 projects that they're trying to bring to life. And then they've got other gigs they're trying to do. It's kind of different ways to make money. They do a little bit of advertising work, you shoot commercials and corporate videos. They do a lot of, maybe they shoot events. Some of them shoot music videos. You balance, obviously, because you're trying to balance your priorities. And then some people work on commercials a lot because commercials have a lot of money and they have a short turnaround. So, a commercial budget would be 5 million. The ad is 30 seconds. And in 2 weeks from prep to shooting to post, or 3 weeks, that can get done. Then you get paid, you can pay your rent. Versus a film, which takes years and years to try to get the money. Then you get the money, then you make the movie, then you have to market the movie and hope it becomes a success so you can have enough money to pay back your investors. So long form stuff takes very long. And while you're trying to push this stuff, you also have things that are bringing in money every month, because that's why a lot of producers and creatives don't just do one thing, they do multiple things. And it is possible. You just don't focus on one thing, like, oh, acting. What if you're not getting auditions? What if you're not getting roles, but you can do something else? Obviously, you have to be able to pay your rent, all of that stuff, you know? So it's all about balancing and stuff. This Zoom is gonna cut us off now in like a minute. If you have more questions, I can end the session and then I can start another Zoom session because it just has a 45-minute limit. It's gonna cut us off. I can end it and we can continue talking. We can start a new one, or if you're good,
I'm gonna soon.
or if you
Unless
guys,
we can.
I guess if you guys are cool, you can also book another session next week again, or if you have more questions. So the session is always available on Saturdays. You can book as many times as you want. But yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Are you good with that?